Do you like livestream.travel and would you like to have your own 30 to 60-second spot in our podcast series? Yes, you can do this. The costs start from just $100. Contact us, go to livestream.travel and click on contact, and we'll be happy to talk to you. Thank you for your support. Okay, aloha and good morning from everyone from Hawaii. My name is Jürgen Steinmetz. I would say it's good evening here. It's 9 o'clock in the evening here in Honolulu. I know many of you are joining us from the other side of the world, from Europe, from Africa. I see even one of our friends from Buenos Aires in South America joining us. Must be really, really late for you. And we're going to have a really, really interesting session today. I wanted to welcome, and we'll get to Maribel a little bit later after we introduce some more people to this forum. But Maribel Rodriguez is our star today. She's a VP for the World Travel and Tourism Council and is joining us from Madrid in Spain. And she will have a lot to say, and I'm sure there are going to be a lot of questions how WTTC is actually saving or trying to save and rescue the global tourism industry with the help of the G20, 45 CEOs of the largest tourism companies in the world, and a little help from Saudi Arabia. So that's going to be really, really interesting to find out. Before we start, those of you that are not yet registered on rebuilding.travel, you can do so. It's free to join our network. We now have people in 120 countries. We actually welcomed the latest country that joined us just a few days ago is San Marino. What's a little tiny country in close to Rimini in Italy. It's not in Italy, it's independent. It's the Republic of San Marino. We have people from all sorts of parts of our industry, anything from tour guides to ministers of tourism, CEOs, and people who work. We have taxi companies, so everyone is in here. We're all discussing one thing: how to rescue our travel and tourism industry. And so that's why I'm so excited for Maribel to help us out a little bit, because I think WTTC really has some great ideas too. I wanted to, first of all, before I introduce some more in this forum, say a special welcome to Taleb Rifai. Taleb, of course, I think everyone knows, two-term Secretary-General for the UNWTO for many years, and he's our co-host, and he has been with this initiative from the very first moment. He lives in Amman, Jordan, but is joining us, I believe, also from Spain. Welcome, Taleb. Let me just open with Taleb very quick, and then maybe we can go back to just real quick to some of the participants. I promise they can say a word that means like a minute or so and introduce themselves. Welcome, Taleb.
Thank you so much. You're very gracious in your introduction, Jürgen. I'm speaking to you from south of Spain now, like Maribel, who's always a star, not just today. Maribel is in Madrid and I'm in the south of Spain. Wow. I am very excited about this because WTTC has been playing a very important role lately. WTTC is filling a gap and filling a vacuum that is needed, very well needed in the international arena. The international system has not been working well lately, not because of its own nature, but because of the circumstances that have developed lately. We don't hear any much about the EU, the Arab League, the United Nations altogether. But WTC is insistent to play its role, not just with the private sector, which it represents, also with governments. I'm delighted to be part of this. I'm delighted to be an ambassador of WTTC. It's really the collective work of Maribel and Gloria Guevara, the head of WTTC, and many, many others. I just want to salute WTTC today, and I'm listening with all attentiveness. I read the report, Jürgen. It's a very interesting report. I'm looking forward to hear Maribel talk about it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much. I also wanted to say for those that are reading eTurbo News, that's the publication I run. We made this a premium article. That means anyone who wanted to read it has to be a paying subscriber. I took that off now. So you can go back to the article and read it free of charge with all the details. And I was so excited yesterday in putting this up. It was quite late and our editors were gone. And I put the wrong recording, only a very small part of the recording on our podcast. We now have a podcast system. It reads all our articles. That is also not changed. So if you listen to the podcast and you only got 6 minutes of the story, go back. You can now listen to the entire story. I just wanted to say this real quick. Now, really a short introduction to some of the people I recognized here. And this, it's not in order of importance or not importance, but I'm just going down who I see. I wanted to say hello. First of all, I'm very happy he is with us because he's on vacation, on a domestic vacation. That's something we had discussed in many of our sessions, how important domestic and regional tourism also is. And this is my good friend Felix Chila. He is the head of the tourism Zambia Tourism Board. I think the name is changed. But Felix, how's your vacation? Welcome. And where are you? You have to unmute yourself, please. I think
he's mute.
Hello, yeah, I think you can hear me now.
we can hear you, and I'm
Yes,
trying
yes,
to find
Felix,
you so I can
yes.
show you a
Yes,
picture, but I haven't
good
found
morning,
you.
good morning, Taleb.
Morning.
It's an honor for me to be on this platform. I know you're very familiar with Zambia because
Very much.
your career with the UNWTO started with Zambia, and I had the privilege to
Yes.
take you for a helicopter ride, and then we had that ride in the bush to go
I
and
still remember.
commission.
I still remember it very, very well. Thank you.
Exactly. I don't want to say a few other details, but then of course you ended your career in Zambia as well. And
That's right.
I met Jürgen at the Victoria Falls during that momentous UNWTO session, which still reverberates. So I'm happy really to be here. I've been 10 years on the helm of the Zambia Tourism Board, now Zambia Tourism Agency. And actually, I'm in the Lower Zambezi National Park right now with my family. We took a few days off, and this is my little home away from home. We're getting back today. But I think it's important to just state that we are very proud as a destination, one, to have been among the first in Southern Africa to put in place safety operating protocols. And of course, now we are very grateful for the safe travel stamp from WTTC. We are pushing domestic tourism, and with increasing interest from the domestic tourists, especially in Livingstone during the holidays, we recognize especially the challenges of smaller population. Zambia is only 20 million and so many people with money in their pockets. So we have to think regional tourism. And the challenge now is how do we harmonize the protocols between countries, and how do we get rid of the bottlenecks that might stop regional tourists from arriving? I think these are some of our challenges. Testing kits at the airport, isolation. I did hear about.
Okay, well, I think we may have lost Felix. Felix, if you hear us, we cannot hear you anymore. But thank you so much, and we're looking forward to your participation the rest of the show. And since you cannot hear us, let me go to our next guest, also another good friend, Deepak. He was the head of the Nepal Tourism Board for some time and is joining us from Kathmandu. Welcome, Deepak. How's everything?
Thank you. Namaste, Jürgen. Namaste, Dr.
Namaste.
Rifai. Namaste, all the friends.
Namaste. Finally, a civilized time for you. For a change.
Yeah.
Yes.
True. So we have recently formed one tourism recovery task force, Nepal. So basically, we are working on the preparedness side inside the country right now. In this task force, we have brought all the public and private sector together, the heads of major tourism associations, member of NGO, member of civil aviation, and then I'm working as a coordinator for this task force. And very recently, we did a couple of programs in the preparedness side. For example, massive awareness and training campaigns, coordination with the local people, because there is a kind of confusion. Both the side there is a kind of fear cycles. For example, travelers, they have fear cycles that if they travel to the destination might be infected, or for destination also there kind of some confusion. They need more awareness and training campaigns. That's what we are doing right now. And then from October 17, we are going to open our trekking and mountain activities, because these activities are in isolation and in nature-based destinations. And gradually we are trying to open up, and that's how we are gearing up, Jürgen.
Perfect. Thank you, and thanks for joining us all the time. I don't think you ever missed a session, so I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I wanted to say a real quick hello to Ibrahim Ayub. He's joining us from Mauritius, and he's involved in the tourism investment conference. I think a lot of you guys went before the World Travel Market. Ibrahim, tell us what's on the plate right now. I heard you're doing another investment, a virtual investment event you're working on right now, aren't you? Can you unmute yourself? I think we may. Okay, so you may have.
I can speak on the behalf of.
Okay.
Ibrahim.
Okay. Why don't you do that?
Okay. We are planning now at ITIC, which I am chairing the committee of, the second investment conference. Is he in?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Are we in?
Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We introduced you.
In November in London, together with WTM. It's our main partner there, and we're trying to put together a very important virtual conference, which will be focusing also on Saudi Arabia as well, as has been explained by the G20, as a leader of the G20. But in general, it's a step forward. We're going to have these conferences once a year, definitely in WTM, plus in some regional places. Thank you so much, Jürgen.
Thank you. And we're going to come back to Africa. We have three more, I think I see here. We want to come back to Africa. But let me a quick go to also a very loyal participant. And she's actually our first ambassador. And she's the ambassador for the rebuilding.travel network in the Balkan region. She's joining us from Montenegro. And it's Alexandra. I'm not even trying to pronounce your last name, but welcome. Just very quick, what's going on in Montenegro?
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning to everybody. Well, as I reported previously, nothing much is happening here. No good news from Montenegro. The best news actually is that the weather is great, and that's about it. And I'm kind of jealous that you guys are reopening tourism, but I'm just joking, of course, because it's very valuable for me to follow what's going on, because in Montenegro we are quite slow, and we have political issues which are dominating the situation. And I believe when these issues are solved, when the new government is takes over, which is going to happen, I believe in couple of weeks, like 2-3 weeks latest, I think that we will start discussing possibilities of rebuilding tourism in a real way. So that's about it from
Thank you, Alexandra. Real quick, wanted to recognize, and also 1 minute, it's very hard to get him to speak. 1 minute, please. Or just to say something, my very good friend Jeffrey Lippman joining us from Brussels. And I could not just ignore you. And you have a very good history with WTTC, because it was kind of your brainchild. You started WTTC, and you were I think you had the title of the first CEO of this organization.
As well as UNWTO.
And I think he was a Deputy Secretary-General at UNWTO. Welcome, Jeffrey.
Hey, thanks, Thomas. Good to see you, and good to see you, Maribel. I'm going to be very brief because I want to hear what Maribel has to say. All I can say is it's a huge satisfaction, having been the first employee of WTTC and its first president for 10 years, to, if anyone had told me in those days, you will actually be producing something with the G20, I would have said that is the height of what we have been created for. So it's a huge achievement. Congratulations. And it's great to see everybody here. Good to see you, Thomas. And as always, my friend Taleb, good to see you looking so well. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you.
And don't forget, the climate crisis is existential, and we have to deal with that. Thank you.
No, and I know you would say this. I was kind of waiting for this. Thank you, Jeffrey, and we will definitely support you on this. Now, I'm just wanted to say hello to my colleague at the African Tourism Board, the chairman of the African Tourism Board, Cuthbert Nkubi. He's joining us from Pretoria. Welcome, Cuthbert.
Thank you so much, Jürgen, for your great steering work in bringing the tourism sector to the fore. Let's all rally together in running this race. Dr. Taleb, Jeffrey, always my prayer these days is to say, oh God, how best can you give me the energy you have in driving the agenda of our African endeavors? WTTC, under the leadership of capable leaders, especially Gloria as African Tourism Board, we have noted your tireless efforts in bringing hope and in your strides in reshaping the travel sector and turning around the challenges we are going through as a sector to opportunities. I believe that this is the right time for all stakeholders in the travel sector to unify our resolves, to expand our experiences, and adopt an inclusiveness approach. In the process of sharing our experiences, let's roadmap our sector to recovery. As I believe as well that tourism is a frontline industry because of its linkages with almost every other sector of the economy. So therefore, it must be at the forefront, stimulating the rest of the global economies to recovery. We're looking forward for this great engagement, and thank you once again, Jürgen.
No, thank you, Cuthbert. And real quick, and then we need to go to Maribel. And there's a lot more in this forum I should have mentioned, and my apology, but you have a chance of saying something and actually be part of the discussion we're just about to have. But I wanted to say hello to Walter Memzebi. Many of you know he was the Minister of Tourism for Zimbabwe for many years, and also worked, I think, with Felix way back when Taleb was elected at the UNWTO General Assembly. And he's now joining us from South Africa. He's also very involved in the African Tourism Board, head of the Security Committee. Thanks for joining us, Walter.
He also became foreign minister.
And he became foreign minister, forgot about that.
Yes.
I think you're mute. Are you mute, Walter?
Thank you.
No, there he is. Okay.
Thank you, Jürgen. Thank you, Jürgen. Thank you for organizing this, and to Gloria, kudos. I cut my teeth into tourism at WTTC summit in Florianopolis, I think somewhere around 2009, 2010, thereabout. And I never looked back. I never missed a session of WTTC during the period that I was minister, because I understood the policy content that underpins WTTC sessions. And I'm very happy that they've grown to this extent where they are now recognized even under G20 frameworks. So congratulations, Gloria, and everybody that is in this session. We look forward to the recovery of global tourism. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And without further ado, I wanted to thank you really, Maribel, for joining us. We only talked yesterday morning when we got the press release, or I think I received a message from Gloria actually on WhatsApp. And I was kind of detect her excitement about what happened with the G20 and the top members from WTTC getting involved in a rescue attempt for the travel and tourism industry, what is so badly needed and hoped by the entire world. And you were nice enough literally within minutes to say, yes, let's do a session. We had pretty much less than 24 hours to prepare. So I'm very pleased that we had 218 people registering. We have many now watching on Facebook and YouTube as well. And we're going to give a good coverage on ETN, and we're going to do a podcast. So we're going to give you the floor big time here. And my best regards to Gloria, who said that she was not able to attend today, but we wanted to do it before the weekend because it's hot news. It's something I think the world has been waiting for. So tell us more. What happened?
Yeah, thank you very much, first of all, Jürgen, for your amazing capacity to bring together people from all over the world. And I want to as well say hello to dear Philip Marin Brussels, my dear friend Taleb, and many others here, which I know you follow up very well and you are very close to what we do. It has been a really an amazing week for us in the sense of we finally, after so many months fighting all together with the COVID-19, we could express to the from the private sector voice to the public sector, what do we need? And that has been done through, and thanks to the leadership of Saudi Arabia minister in and the presidency in the G20, because they asked us to prepare a plan to recover 100 million jobs. But before I explain a bit about that, let me put you in context. Since this situation started, and we are private sector, but we have felt obliged to work together, no matter with whom, to be able to recover our beautiful sector. We are employing 1 out of 10 jobs. 1 out of 4 new jobs last year were because of travel and tourism. And it's not only that, it's how much it permeates through the entire value chain in the society and the global and the social impact that travel and tourism has. We are employing young people, women, that no matter what ethnic, it's a sector that we cannot, of course, think about. It's only jobs, it's only economy, it's more than that, it's social, it's the impact. So when we were requested by the Minister Al-Khatib to prepare this plan, we have been using all our weapons within WTTC, all the members. We have been talking to the different associations in our weekly industry call that we're having with ICAO, IATA, PATA, ETC, all the different associations, international ones, to validate all the conversations and the things we wanted to discuss with the public sector. So we present what we developed, a concrete plan to resume international travel, because it is clear that it would be before the vaccine and after the vaccine. We are still before the vaccine, but even if vaccine arrives, we are not going to be able to be all of us vaccinated within 24 hours and up and ready to travel. So it will take a while. It will take probably months or maybe years. So we don't know that. But what we know is that we cannot keep impacting so much our beautiful industry, and we need to work together. And what we have been seeing over the last few months is an uncoordinated approach, because the different governments, they all have their own agendas. They have been worried, and of course we have to, is the #1 topic about health and the sanitation of the entire world. But what was clear, that was uncoordinated, not talking each other, not organizing each other. Or for example, now Taleb, you are in Spain, but in Spain, at the same time that Europe opened on the 1st of July, the regional travel, and everybody started to move. Suddenly on the 15th of August, the UK said, look, quarantines when you go back. So from one day to the other, the entire private sector was sort of destroyed, because of course, if you are not having clients anymore from one day to the other, how you are going to be planning ahead? So it was really, really needed that we put a plan together, and this is what we have been doing. And the promise to do that has been very easy. 12 points that the private sector wanted to discuss with the public sector, and 12 points that the governments need to meet as well. It's all about testing on departure, quick, efficient, cheap, because it's very important that this is like for everyone. Coordinated standards and protocols, harmonized, So when someone is traveling from Hong Kong to some part in France, they feel confidence that when they see this stuff that we created, that we are just giving a recognition to the work that the different destinations are doing, but it gives a sense of tranquility and confidence. That's very important. We have been talking about the corridors. Of course, we don't expect that from one day to the other everything is going to be reopened again, but please, corridors, safe corridors in cities between London, New York, uh, Rome, Paris, important corridors that are going to help, of course, the normal traveler, but as well the business traveler. So all those coordinated efforts that we have been doing over the last few months has been all related to how we resume international travel in a safe way all together. And that was what we presented. Over 45 WTTC members and a few others were invited alongside other associations that we, because this has been an event that WTTC and the president's from Minister Al-Khatib from Saudi Arabia has organized together. So we have been invited these 45 CEOs, and they all expressed clearly what they were those points that we have been discussing right now: international coordination, a coordinated approach for reopen borders, the implementation of the air corridors, align on health and hygiene protocols and standardized measures, implement international testing protocols, consider an international contact tracing standard, modify quarantine measures for positive tests only, not everyone needs to be, painted with the same brush. Review the existing regulations and the legal framework to ensure that they are adapted to the new requirements. Continue support to the most affected, and this is very important because SMEs, 80% of the global company, the different companies worldwide are SMEs. We need to help them, of course, and governments needs to acknowledge. Provide consistent, simple, and coordinated communications to citizens and travelers, and it's again all about the confidence to the traveler, or expressing properly what is the situation. Because if you are in some place at a certain point and suddenly you receive a WhatsApp or you see in the media, if you go back home there is a quarantine, of course you go back home, because if you are a bus driver you cannot be quarantining at home or even in a hotel, like Tony said now about Hong Kong. If you wanted to travel now going back home, but then instead of going to your house, staying in a hotel. So continue support, because we cannot miss that. Okay, this is going to be in a few months, we hope, over. But again, we need to recover the confidence of the traveler, and we need to plan for that, and we need to start doing promotions, communications, being competitive as destinations, because otherwise there would be like a lot of people to be willing to do the same, but we need to, to get focused. And of course, continue to invest in crisis preparedness and resilience, because of course, travel and tourism, we all know, and you know more than that is the group that you are putting together to talk about this particular subject, but we are very resilient. We have been analyzing over 90 crises the last 10 years, and we know that after each crisis, we were stronger after, because we are a very resilient sector, and as well we are learning to recover faster and faster. But when in the crisis where the private and the public sector, they worked together, that was when the recovery was faster. If we do it in silos, it's not important. We as an organization are politically agnostic, as you can imagine. We give our hands to everyone to work with, because what we want to get is to have a safe and a healthy industry, but we need an industry. What we need is that after COVID, the companies are still there, that they can employ, that the social impact that we are bringing is still there. Families that are living because of travel and tourism, companies, SMEs, even students, gender equality, inclusion is what we are doing. So is why for us it has been really, really important to be able, for first time ever, to have such an important meeting and engage with our CEOs. And if you have seen the quotes from all of them. You can have a look in our website. We were displaying all of them yesterday. It has been really, really important for all of them as well to take this opportunity to express, like, for example, British Airways about the corridor between New York and London, and others talking about not only the corridors, the quarantines, because they were really affected during summer and they wanted to express that to the government. So that was a great opportunity, very well received. We have received different acknowledgements. So, and that is the beginning. Now we have to start working, because that was the work that now we need to implement. So thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm super happy to respond to your questions or to give you more details. But our message is here: we are to work together, public and private. The better we do it, the sooner and the quicker we will be recovering and bringing back to those things that we have before COVID. That now, I always say, now everybody's missing the tourists. Before, nobody knew how they came to our cities or to our countries. And now when they are missing it, they are like putting in the right place that our sector has to be, which is in the core of agendas and in a transversal way. So thank you very much. I don't know if I took a lot of my time to explain, but happy to respond any questions.
Thank you very much, Mariel. And I think if you look at the indication that you're bringing the 45 largest companies on the table, and you're doing this in the country in Saudi Arabia, what is hosting the G20. These are I would say, we can probably safely say, some of the wealthiest nations in the world. It looks like you can put your money behind where your mouth is. Who would finance all of this? That must have been an important part of your discussion, I would have thought.
Yeah, I mean, they are there. I mean, we as members, you know, that we are very diverse in our membership. We have organizations which are developer investors. We have travel agencies, tour operators, cruise lines. We have airlines, airports. We have from the most disruptive to the most traditional. So all of them were part of this, and each of them played a role. We have some speakers, 12 speakers, and each of them were, of course, targeting what their worries, but not only in their behalf, because some of them were representing some regions. So that was a very interesting uncoordinated work, because it showed how we are united to fight against the same problem, which is the COVID and this and the willingness to have this global coordination. So it was very interesting to see, like, a hotel and an airline plus an investor together with a tour operator. They were all in the same boat. That is really, really important. So, and that was part of the conversation.
And I think Taleb had something to add. Go ahead, Taleb.
Thank you so much, Jürgen. I want to thank Maribel once again. I think what they've done is a great, great job under the leadership of Gloria. We've been able to bridge the gap between the private sector and the governments, which is very, very important. Nobody's doing this now at the international level. And I think the G20 is a perfect platform to do that, especially in Saudi Arabia, that's taking special interest now and special care about its tourism sector. Now, what I want to add is two things. One is the emphasis on domestic tourism. I keep saying this because it's very, very important. At the time being, what Maribel said about confidence and trust will never be bridged very soon. We need to concentrate on domestic tourism. And I'm glad to see that amongst the 12 points, whether it's from government or from the private sector, there is emphasis on this. There is a demand from the private sector to reasonably price the packages for domestic tourism and to believe in that. Because, as I always say, the country that's not visited and enjoyed by its own people cannot be enjoyed by anybody else, should not be enjoyed by anybody else. It's a problem of the developing countries, mainly, because in Europe and the United States, 70-75% of the traffic is domestic anyhow. So I think we need to rise up to that level. It's an opportunity for us. Second point I want to say is there should be an emphasis on long-term stay. By long-term stay, I mean many destinations. I was attending one workshop. It was done with the Maldives and the Caribbeans. These countries have to start working now on longer stays. Many people are working from home now. There's a term called digital nomads. I think some of you have heard about it. think we should encourage this. Somebody can come now and stay here in Marbella, where I am, and stay for a month or two, not just a week, not just 2-3 days. They can work from here. They can work from more beautiful and more scenic places. Hotels can start pending long-term leases. This is something that we should consider now, because people are working from home a lot. Now they can find home somewhere else. We need to work with governments to issue certain visas for these people. We also need to have the private sector cooperate in this regard, so hotels can start giving special offers for people that want to stay long term. This long-term stay is going to be the characteristic. It's the only way to combat the issue of quarantine, because you can't go for 2-3 days or a week somewhere and then go quarantine for 2 weeks. But if you go stay for 3-4 weeks, 3-4 months, then you can afford to go back home and quarantine. It's okay. And this long stay is also about wellness and health. In the Dead Sea, Jordan, for example, where I'm staying now, it's a very, very attractive medium. You can come and stay for a month or two in one of the hotels at the Dead Sea. It's healthy, it's good. You renew your energy, you do work from home, and you enjoy your time. So this long-term stay is another idea that I want to put forward. Once again, I want to thank you, Maribel, for all the great work that you and Gloria do. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and Gloria, thank you, Taleb. And Gloria, unfortunately, is not here today, and we are using this like divide and conquer because we really want to spread our voice across the world. And thanks, Jorgen, for accepting me. I'm super happy to be here today. And to your comment, Taleb, yes, that was even in a discussion. It was the word workation, no? Like, why don't you go?
Yes.
So something discussed already, and it's not the first time we are hearing it, which is totally true. Now, out of the bad things, some good things came out, and we need to use this as an opportunity to create new products, but as well as an opportunity for the different destinations worldwide for them to reshape and to see what is the product they want to offer. And well, they have now, unfortunately, in one side, the time to think about it, but as well, the ones that are doing it right now are the ones to be more competitive when we go back. But that is a little different to the private sector. There are companies like airlines, they are losing every day $250,000. So I read that this is impossible. So it's why governments need to understand that they need to keep this particular sector because it's the backbone of our tourism. And to resume international travel is very important that we have safe companies when we are able to go back, and that's why tests on departure and to have a coordinated international protocols implemented are pretty much needed, because that would be the only way to be able to keep traveling, to keep doing business. It's very beautiful to be all of us here today, where we can see in different time zones and we can say hello, good morning, good afternoon, good night. But at the end of the day, other things, physical things are as well pretty much needed and missed. And of course, we need to think about, okay, will never disappear this fear or till COVID is gone, but we need to learn about how to be and coexist with such a situation, because we don't know what is going to be coming next. So the sooner we are ready to react and coordinate ourselves in protocols and standards and tests, the better.
Thank you
Thank
very
you so much. May I just make a quick comment, please, Jorgen?
Sure.
I'm glad that Maribel brought the issue of testing. I personally am not waiting for testing. I don't think we should freeze our lives waiting for testing. Testing is not the solution. The solution is, vaccine is not the solution.
Vaccine,
I'm not going to be waiting for the vaccine. I'm not going to be vaccinating myself. I don't get somebody like Trump to convince me to vaccine. But testing is very important. So I think testing, tracing, and then treatment directly is what's needed. T. That's what I heard from some of our friends in Korea that they're doing. Because waiting for the vaccine could be a long-term thing, and nobody's going to trust the vaccine now. So we should start working immediately now. We don't have much time to waste. Thank you.
No, and even Taleb, so even if the vaccine would be really like amazing and very, it will take. Is that we cannot wait. We cannot wait. We
exactly.
Work, and there are many options.
Exactly.
And like when everybody, I mean, the situation is because of the number and the big numbers and the but now the second wave, which is of course pretty much now in Europe, as you know, well, of course, the second wave is bad and is impacting, and maybe more countries, one countries more than others, but in reality, there is a less pressure in the hospitals right now that it used to be in the first wave. We are learning a bit already, so that's we are having my particular situation, for example, being in Spain like you are, and I'm in Madrid, which is sort of lockdown one day and the other day is not. So it's very funny for us as a citizen to really understand where we are, but we are trying to do our normal life. We're using our mask, using gel, sanitary,
Exactly.
distance.
Exactly.
We are doing normal.
Go about your
In the
life.
school,
Go about.
children's in the
You're
school.
Right.
No cases. When there is a case, they are informing, doing a PCR. Problem, go back. Like, and we were very surprised. It's already 1 month since the schools started, and nothing happened. So that's a really good sign.
Yes, I agree.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you very much. We have Raed Habis, another good friend of mine. He's joining us from Saudi Arabia, and he's been
Hello,
raising
Mr.
his
Raed.
hand. And I wanted to just, before Raed, maybe you can unmute yourself, and I don't know if your camera works, so we can see you. Then I can put you on the screen. Wonderful. But in the meantime, Raed is getting ready. Anyone who I have see a lot
Yes,
of questions.
I'm ready, Mr. Jürgen.
Sure.
I want to say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Good morning and good evening to everybody where you are. And thank you for giving me this chance to speak. Actually, I can see many of my friends here, Dr. Taleb. And also Mr. Ibrahim and Mr. Paul and many good friends. Just give me a minute. I will start my camera.
Yes, we see you better now.
Is it clear? It's Friday actually today in Saudi Arabia.
You're on a different planet, Mr. Raed. You're on a different planet now.
Yes, we are in one planet.
Yes.
For our planet, the digital planet, which I really want to thank Mr. Jürgen for putting all this effort to connect us all together from the tourism and travel industry. Actually, I was very glad to hear the effort that have been put by WTTC and the Ministry of Tourism of Saudi Arabia by Mariam. A special thanks to the speech she delivered today. Yes, Saudi Arabia under the leadership of King Salman and the Crown Prince and the presidency of the G20 and its location in the middle of the world is trying to hopefully rebuild the travel and tourism industry again and integrate all the effort, as I said, the resilient and security and safe tourism, which is a good effort that have been put in place. And I watched a video that was sent to me by our friend, Dr. Peter Taralo, with Dr. Guy from Cisco. I think this is one of the excellent effort to bring back the tourism and to gain the trust for governments and also the tourists themselves. The effort that I heard that putting up 45 CEOs from different industries, from airlines to hoteliers, tour operators, digital booking systems, etc. That's great effort. And yes, Saudi Arabia hopefully can, during the interim period, contribute a lot to rebuilding travel and tourism. Now I can see a lot of movement from UNWTO opening up an office in Riyadh, hopefully WTTC and IATA and many global organizations. And we look forward from the private sector, actually, and especially the SMEs, because I worked in IATA about 25 years. I appointed almost 2,000 travel agents in Saudi Arabia. And these are actually the movers and checkers of the industry. And I recommend that there should be more effort to organize a global workshops or events or training through the digital platforms to bring people together, to bring travel industry professionals together and governments in order for this industry to have a quick recovery and a quick accelerator programs. So I really think that we have to consider very much in these activities the startups and the SMEs in the travel and tourism industry. I don't want to speak too much. I know there is limited time. And thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak to this beautiful members. Thank you, Jürgen.
No, thank you, right. And I know
we've
been following the development in Saudi Arabia, and I know we were supposed to meet actually in Saudi Arabia after ITB Berlin, what was all canceled, and times have changed. And I'm so glad that Saudi Arabia, with all these fantastic plans in motion already now for some time, opening up to global tourism, is taking a lead in this. And this is an opportunity not only for Saudi Arabia, but also for the world, I think. We have a lot of people asking questions on the chat group. What I have to admit is a little bit difficult to see and to sort. I would much rather ask anyone who wanted to contribute and ask a question, just raise your hand and we give you the microphone. And while you think about doing this, and I have a number of questions here sitting pending, but I'm going to wait for more people to raise their hand. But I wanted to give the microphone for a minute to Peter Bryan. He's joining us from Tanzania, and it's a surprise. He didn't know I would give him the floor. But Peter is one of our global heroes. It's a program we started for rebuilding.travel of global tourism heroes. We have a number of them actually here. Jeffrey Lipman is a part of this group, and Cuthbert is part of this group. And Peter really had a fascinating presentation at one of our sessions some time ago. And maybe, Peter, if you just have a minute, you ask a question also here online, you can just say hello and tell us a little bit what you're doing, how you contributed to the reopening of tourism in Tanzania, and what do you think about the initiative from WTTC?
Good morning, Jürgen, and good morning to everybody. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. We've been watching everything possible that might help us to open tourism, because generally for African countries, the domestic markets are very weak due to spending power and interest in actually traveling internally. In more sophisticated economies, perhaps like Kenya, South Africa, there's much more proclivity to travel domestically, but here it's beyond the reach of most. So for us, the domestic market, domestic tourism is not really a viable option, considering the size of our tourism, with, for example, Zanzibar with 17,000 beds. That's never going to work for us. We were skeptical, as you know, because I was on that webinar with you about the safe tourism seal. And because many countries have been given this, even countries that are not even open for tourism. So there's a question here on the question board asking, what do you think the effect has been? That might be an interesting topic. for somebody else to answer, but I think very little. The main goal for us is to convince, for example, the EU to be uniform in its policies towards allowing its citizens to travel, not only within the EU, but to countries like Tanzania, which have a safer, if not no COVID at all, status. And at the moment we are trying to influence the Italian government to allow the charters to begin again to Zanzibar. KLM has just announced new flights to Zanzibar twice weekly and are stepping up of their schedule into Arusha and Dar es Salaam, Kilimanjaro and Dar es Salaam, which is great news. But the key to destinations like Tanzania and Zanzibar are single hop flights, not having to go through the Gulf or Addis Ababa or Turkey in order to reach the final destination, because it adds at least 8 hours and doubles the time of an 8-hour flight. So we've got some structural problems, but most of all, we have this disunity in Europe, which I think Maribel already mentioned. That is, to me, the greatest obstacle we have, because that's our big market. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Jürgen, may I make a comment on this one, please?
Yeah,
Jürgen?
sure. And Maribel also wanted to respond to it.
Sure, sure. Go ahead, go ahead, Maribel. No, please go ahead,
Well, I
Maribel.
was telling that the problem with Europe is because all of us think that Europe is one country, like the United States, and it's not. And within Europe, the countries itself has regions and cities and communities. So the major travel barrier right now is to have a common coordinated approach. Is why we had started all our conversations internally, because for Europe, it's very important that the travels are starting in the region again, because it's the #1 destination and as well as the #1 emissor. So you're absolutely right. But there is some movements already starting. Unfortunately, they haven't done it before. They were very discoordinated at the beginning, coordinated at the end in the middle of July, and now again back to the original situation. So, but there are initial approach again to not to restart altogether, but to start with bilateral agreements, and they are talking about corridors, which is very important because, as you said, there are destinations not affected, very well controlled, and why those has to be, put in the same pocket as the others, when you can easily do a bubble for them to travel, like would be, as you have mentioned, or in Canary Islands, for example, with a few cases, and other parts of the world. Thank you. That was my comment.
Thank you very much. I think
Thomas, can I say a couple of things?
Yeah, sure. I think Taleb was real quick, and then
sure.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Taleb, go ahead.
It's okay, Jeffrey. I'll say just a few words. First of all, Peter, thank you so much for your intervention. I just was not very comfortable with your dismissal of domestic tourism, as if it's a hopeless situation. It is our responsibility as a private sector to make it affordable to people and to readjust ourselves and think differently, to bring in the domestic market. You can't just say it's not right for us. It doesn't make up. I know it doesn't make up for foreign currency, doesn't make up for trade deficit, but it does keep our facilities open, and it does keep our jobs alive. So I think it's very, very important to take that seriously. The second point I want to make here is what Maribel said about international arenas. Now, you can't just ask governments to do some things that are not logical sometimes and not healthy. For example, there are many destinations that are corona-free. Jordan, for example, for a long period of time, was 0 to 10 cases only. Now, once they open the borders, even the land borders, not the airport, there are 2,000 and 3,000 every day. So don't be misled by the fact that you're a safe destination now. Once you start having some people coming to your country, you're going to get more cases, which is okay, but you have to be prepared for it. Unless you're very strict on your procedures. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you so much, Jürgen.
Thank you. And Jeffrey.
Yeah, Thomas, firstly, I want to support Taleb in his comments on domestic tourism. If you look at the numbers that WTTC use, about 70% of the GDP numbers come from consumption. That's people spending money. So and also within national borders, there are plans to help people to have money even when markets have stopped. There are recovery plans which are nationally based. So if you can tap into this and you can incentivize people to use the money that they have in a way which is good for domestic tourism, it's a great thing. So I want to make 3 points. The first one, and congratulations again to Maribel. I've been in so many seminars, and many of you have, and it's a lot of often blue sky thinking and magic solutions. And you can spend your life in these seminars. And I suggest that now we have a plan, we don't have to have those kind of discussions. We can talk about really how do we implement, how do we make the things that are in these 12 points, how do we make them happen? And when we make suggestions, we should reference them to one of the points so that we're all talking in a common way against a plan which has been widely recognized as being valuable. And then the last point I want to make, and it's a bit self-serving, but there's a tendency to forget the long term whilst you're focused on the short term. You don't think about draining the swamp when you're up to your neck in alligators. The long term for us is now with the climate situation. It's bigger than COVID, and it's starting to impact. So I would like to reference item 11 in the WTTC's plan. I would like to urge everybody now to build climate-friendly travel. And I would like to offer for the international community the registry that we launched last week, which is a no-cost way for people to get onto a clean and green path. By creating plans, we can help you do that, and registering them and reviewing them every year, and making sure that whilst we respond to the COVID issue, we also deal with the existential climate crisis. And final point, these black swan events, pandemics, terrorism, they don't disappear after we've had one. They come every 5-10 years. It's time the industry puts a big fund together with the insurance companies and the oil companies and the airline manufacturers, so that when these things happen, we don't have to be the first people to the government saying, you have to help us first. We have to prepare now for these to happen regularly and to help ourselves. And you could create a fund by doing what everybody else is trying to do, which is to tap into a very, very small percentage of the money that travelers pay and to put it somewhere for the time when this will happen again. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Actually, you are referring to the points 11 and 12, and they are as important as first and number 2, which is just the order, no? But those things are really important. One is the long terms, of course, and we are not prevent that when COVID is over, nothing else is going to be coming again. Yes, we'll have something else. And as well, the related to climate change and sustainability. And thanks for being part of our now currently project, which we are creating a committee on sustainability that we hope that our members and we will be, of course, contributing to give ideas and to share best practices worldwide on this particular matter. And thanks, Geoffrey, for all your help there and your brain in this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeffrey. And we have 2 more people who raised their hand. One is Omar. We get to you in just a minute, but for quite some time, Mark Reed. And Mark is an Australian guy living in Bali, involved in some fascinating technical platforms. And I don't know if that's what your question was, but Mark, welcome, and hope everything is okay in Bali.
I feel welcome, and thank you so much for taking me into this community. It's at the heart of everything that I do, and I am watching Bali go from paradise to a ghost town and get wave after wave after wave. Now that we've opened up our domestic tourism, which is to be expected, I guess. But where I've come into it, I come into this industry from a background of digital marketing. And knowing how to use digital marketing and software to engage those that are unable to engage in digital marketing and keep themselves on the radar in the tourism industry specifically. And we all know that 70% of all the tourism sector are not literally bookable or searchable online. They're still trying to fight for every booking, and obviously they're not going to come back. So I don't really want to harp on too much about what I do. I would love to speak to you all on a personal level. We have got, we're about to start rolling out. It's an incredible journey. But what I did want to say was I've become part of a group here in Bali who have already repurposed 4 hotels. And 4 hotels with an investor, and we're just taking them over for the year. The management team of the hotel and all the staff are still employed, and we're repurposing them towards medical and wellness staycations. The first 4 pilot hotels are doing very well, and we're building up some incredible community support from all of the wellness sector. And we've got a goal between now and the end of 2021 for another 40 within Bali, 40 hotels. There is some incredible community work going on here. And within 3 years, the actual budget has been set for 1,000 hotels to be adopted into this sustainability and wellness repurposing of hotels, along with digital nomads and startups and those that are on remote working opportunities that want to be in a healthier environment with sustainable organic foods and everything based on climate and sustainability. I would love to field any of your interest in all of that. And once again, I really appreciate being part of this group. I look forward to working with you very soon because we can roll this out globally. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark. And just wanted to remind everybody, if you have something to contribute what other members of rebuilding.travel should see, just click on the contact form on rebuilding.travel. We're looking at everything, and a lot of this information is put up on our website for others to see. And we also welcome any ideas and anything you maybe wanted to present to the group at one time. We can have a special session like we have this one, where we can focus on specific subjects. And finally, we're working on launching our resilience.travel website. What again is meant to be a public forum where anyone can contribute to. It's going to be free, like everything at rebuilding.travel is complimentary. And so that's our way of hopefully contributing to the global communication. And of course, Mark, you're welcome to be part of it. I wanted to go to Omar Navas. Omar, tell us where you're calling from and what your question is. I think you have to unmute yourself.
Is that okay by now?
Yeah, we cannot see you, but we can hear you. Now we can see and hear you. Okay.
Yeah, 2 or 3 things just to explain that.
Well, real quick, let us know where you're from, where you're calling from.
Actually, I'm in Paris at the moment. Okay. And I worked for many years under Dr. Rifai and Jeffrey Lippman at the UNWTO in Madrid. As a matter of fact, I got locked down here in Paris and couldn't get back to Madrid. And last week I was able to go there and bring all my stuff back by car. And now I think the frontiers are closed again. But getting back to what Dr. Rifai mentioned, I also want to point out that I did a landmark study under him called Domestic Tourism in Asia and the Pacific, which is available online, and it's a very interesting study. Unfortunately, this could not be extended to the global level, but what Jeffrey mentioned, that 70% of global tourism is from domestic tourism, is true. Maybe that it is, in my study, I found that in Asia it was 60%, but I think many developed countries, it is around 70 to 75%. I just want to get back to one other point. This is to Peter Bryan. I just read the article in. Hello?
Yes, go ahead. We can hear you.
Yeah, sorry. I just read the article, Jürgen, in the eTobo today about Tanzanian tourism. I was fascinated that in the last 3 months that they were able to recover and welcome international tourists, with France leading the entire arrivals with, I think, 3,000 or 4,000 tourists between June and the present date. But globally, I understand from the article that Tanzania hasn't been in lockdown and they have welcomed tourists. So it will be nice to know how they have proceeded while other countries have had little difficulty. This is all that I want to mention today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and definitely, yeah, we did highlight Tanzania with Peter's report. To actually, if you go to Peter's profile on rebuilding.travel, you find an entire blue plan he worked on for Tanzania, what is quite good. And if we had time, I would give Peter the word again, but we're running so short on time. But if you read this, and I can put you together, I think with Peter, maybe it's something what we could discuss at a future session as well. And Maribel, I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add to Omar's comment.
I'd like you to ask, just to invite all of you to have a read to the points, and to spread the voice if you can, and help each of us. Anything we do is always super valid. And one more time, we have been doing this work over the last few months, very tireless and with a lot of passion and willing to change things and support. We have done that under the leadership of the Minister of Saudi Arabia, which we are very, very grateful for this opportunity. But it's WTTC plan. It's not someone else's plan. That's very important to indicate. It's WTTC who has produced it, and we are going to be leading that in any circumstance.
And I think it's on your website also, your plans for your safer travel stamp. You have a lot of this information actually on your website. It's quite useful. And I think we actually link to it from Safer Tourism. We also actually link to it from our Safer seal we started. Well, it's not competing with yours, but it's complementing this because it's an excellent effort what WTTC put together. We have Emmanuel, and as far as I know, Emmanuel is joining us from Ghana. And maybe you can tell us a little bit more who you are. I know you've been with Ghana Tourism. I know who you are, but maybe for everyone else. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Jürgen. A very good morning, afternoon, and evening to everyone. And let me say a big thank you for this opportunity. It's been great being part of these webinars. I'm Emmanuel Frimpong. I am the Executive Secretary for Ghana Tourism Federation. Ghana Tourism Federation is the umbrella body for all private tourism sector in Ghana. So we have about 32 different trade associations. You have a tour guide, a tour operator, the chefs association, the various hotels, about 32 different trade associations. Now, my question actually goes to Maribel. What is your plan to support not too big organizations? I know you are engaging the big organization, the G8, the G20s and all that. What is your relationship with the not too big organizations that are actually making impact in Africa? That is one. How are you engaging them? Two, how are you also bringing the youth to be on the table so that we can also contribute? Because many a times the decisions are made without getting us involved. So I want to find out about these two things. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you for the question, Emmanuel. And as I have been mentioning before, because we believe, and it's reality, that our sector brings value not only as an employees and to the GDP, we are bringing to the employment, youth, women, different, people from worldwide, gender equality wise. So for us, it's really important because it's the most inclusive sector worldwide. You can start in a hotel as bellman, bellwoman, and end up being manager or director. It's the only sector where you can do a chain of growth without having to go to the university in that case. So it's very inclusive. So for us, it's one of our 12 points highlighted that. And when it comes to SMEs, as I said before, again, it's one of our interests and points in the plan as well, because 80% of the companies worldwide are all of them SMEs. When it comes to what companies are we engaging with to help Africa and to bring to Africa, bear in mind that if we avoid and if we change what we have now with the travel barriers, many big airlines can go back and they can start traveling and they can go to the different countries, Africa, non-Africa, but worldwide. Same with hotels, same with everything, same with operators. So all the actions we are doing now, of course, we have to target a little bit different region by region, but now it's a global issue. All of us are on this now. So there is no point to just tackle a couple of cities or regions when it's a global problem. So, but when we solve the global problem, the regions will be easier because it's going to be a cascade effect.
But the youth, sorry, the youth, engaging the youth.
The youth as well is our sector. If you see at the worldwide level, is the number one, not engaging, employing youth people. So, but of course, we need to keep on working, and there are many initiatives, and this is part of our sustainable growth plan, and it's a very, very good and valid point. But we are already considering like a big part of our employee workforce.
Taleb, I think, wanted to cut in here.
Thank you so much. I think what Emmanuel was saying, which I thank him for raising that up, is how do we involve the youth in the decision-making process as well, not just the receiving end. I think that's very, very important. That's very important, Maribel.
As a work, as I said, but now we know that the first travelers are going to be the youth people. They are going to be the ones because they are the most resilient. They have no fear to travel. So they are going to be not only the travelers of today, but the travelers of the future. So those people are for us very important because other ones are going to be traveling first to different countries. So we have to target them somehow. And then their testimonials could be really useful. You know, now the new technologies, the way they are working, the way they are traveling are pretty much important for destinations as well, to be perceived, to be present in those platforms. So there are many, many ways to engage with the youth, not only as employees or travelers or students, but as well as the one that are going to be the one and the first going back to the destinations, because there is not as much, there is less sensible, the COVID for them than for elderly, as you can know. So
very good.
So in this part, they will be like one to target.
Thank you. Jürgen, may I make a suggestion here, please?
Yes. Sure.
I think we cannot leave before concluding what Maribel just said. We have 12 points now, and 12 points, 24 points that came out of WTTC. This must be our entire agenda. Like Jeffrey said, enough of talking about so many things. I think we need to look at this agenda now, WTTC agenda, refine it as much as we can, send to them our comments, and adopt it as our agenda, the agenda of everybody, an international agenda. Without doing that, we will not be able to move a step forward. We should know what we're fighting for. And this document is an excellent start for that. Thank you.
Well, yeah, I definitely, Taleb, agree with you. And as I've mentioned to Gloria several times, we would love to work with WTTC and contribute to your plan. And I think it's a good group, as you can see. We have people that are excited about the industry, that really care about the industry. So I'm looking forward, if that's okay with WTTC, we would love to find a way to work with you on this and taking Taleb's lead here to work on going through your agenda, what is all now very new. I only saw it yesterday, so.
No problem. Urkan, you have it there, use it, and of course, we are more than happy to, from time to time, gather here with you. If we are invited, we are more than happy to join you and explain about where we are, what is the process, what are our improvements or our difficulties, and share that with you and try to to work together in that sense. And we are very happy to be here. I know that you have had as well in the past other of my colleagues. So yeah, so that's a great news. Thank you very much.
Maribel, what we're saying here is that WTTC agenda must become the global agenda. Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. I think it's worth it. What we have seen, 12 points, if we refine them a little bit, add a little bit of what has been said today, just refine it a little bit, and make it a final document that is speaking on the behalf of everybody, any responsible person, responsible for environmentally, responsible socially, responsible economically. All of this must be in one document. This is an excellent document. It's a 2-page document that sums it all up. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Taleb. And as I probably could have predicted it, we all predicted, this is such a hot subject we're talking about, and we have now so many questions lined up. We can probably sit here all night and all day to go through it, so we're going to try to sort through it. And we have a few people that already raised hands. There's Alexander, there's Grachna from Poland, there's Kazim from Nigeria, and Raid also wanted to add to it. So we don't unfortunately have time for everyone to listen, but let's go on here and see as much as we can handle. But Alexander from Montenegro, go ahead. Do you have to?
I'm muted.
I did.
I'm muted.
No,
now it's okay.
Okay, thank you. Actually, I would like to have Maribel's and Dr. Taleb's views on the issue regarding Montenegro. As you all know, Montenegro is a very small country, very beautiful country in Europe, very close to all the main markets, but we are stuck with Corona. We were promoting ourselves as corona-free country a couple of months ago, which was a huge mistake. And then now we are #1 country in Europe regarding the number of infected cases. So everything is blocked here. And Dr. Taleb and Maribel were talking about global standards and global strategy, which I support very much. But I would like to have your reviews. What actions should we take now to improve the situation? From my point of view, we should start rebuilding trust and confidence in the destination, of course, when we solve the health issue. But I would like to have your views on this, if you can, add something on it. Thank you.
I'd love to add something to Montenegro. Montenegro is a wonderful country. I had an opportunity once to go with a minister with an aeroplane over the sea and looked at Montenegro in one shot. You could see the whole country, the beaches, the mountains. It's beautiful, really. I think it's a perfect place for the so-called digital nomads. Perfect. I think you should concentrate more on that if you want international tourism. International tourism can only be done through long-term stay. In other words, you should promote your country as a country that is capable of receiving young people and people that want to work from home, and turn your hotels into residences. Really, that's one point. The second point is encourage regional tourism. You're in a region that is quite vibrant. You should open your borders a little bit more and encourage people to come from the region to spend a day or 2 or 3. I don't know how the quarantine situation is in your surrounding countries, but it's important to encourage not just domestic. I know domestic tourism is not very viable in Montenegro because it's a very small country, but you live in a region that is quite rich. You have around you Croatia, you have around you Serbia, you have around you also Macedonia as well.
Macedonia,
yes,
Albania,
yes. Albania is a very, very, very supportive country as well. So all of this can help you. I think we need to look afresh at a new strategy for Montenegro. Montenegro is a big resort, really. The whole country is a tourism destination, from beach to mountain, everything, all in one shot. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Maribel, can I have your
As I said before, well, right now is the opportunity for destinations to do, I mean, to plan for the future. This future we have been commenting today since early morning, and for you as a destination, the regional and the domestic for us should be like Europe, no? That is really very important, and well, comms plans, promotional plans, all has to be really well coordinated and organized. And we believe that anyone that is doing now and is presenting themselves very competitive is going to be the one that is going to win, is going to be the one there waiting and receiving. And you have to communicate all the efforts you are doing. You have to communicate how safe traveling is there. You have to start again building up about your products and showing up there, because people is there waiting for travel back again. Use the media, use all the technology possible there, all the platform, the youth, the young people in Europe to travel, because as soon as we are ready to travel, people is going to be doing, despite of having fear or not. But use those tools right now to start building your case and being prepared for it. And as well, very important, the citizens of the regions and destinations, because they have to be they have to welcome the tourists. They have to know the impact that this sector has in their livelihoods, because they don't know till they don't have seen it. Now they have seen it. The little shop next to a hotel, the person that is cleaning the rooms, the boutique which is in front, the souvenirs, the food, the restaurants, all of them, they sometimes take for granted that the tourists are going to be there, and no, they have to be part of the value chain. They have to help the destinations, and that is very important. They all understand, and we need to communicate. Sometimes we miss that. We miss communicating to the citizens how the travel and tourism is impacting them. We are always measuring the induced, only not direct, indirect, and induced effect on the GDPs and jobs, but it goes further than and beyond that, because impact much more than that. Impact on women going to work, impact of the 30% of the young people that is going and work in travel and tourism, impact more than that. So is why it's important that we communicate properly and we do it. And we haven't been doing that very well over the last year. So let's profit, because when we're thinking about, I was having a conversation the other day with a destination, and they were saying, look, automotion in some parts of the world are as big as tourism, and they are not so talkative, and they don't speak. You don't see them in different fora. You don't see them, but they are there. They are very well perceived. They are very well, recognized by the governments and associations, industry, and citizens. Why? But we have to think why we as well should be communicating how important we are for the society.
So I would just add that the key is to communicate, to promote, to marketing all the solutions that you just proposed as digital nomads and all the rest of the things. But the key is the communication.
Communication,
Yes,
what you are doing, being transparent. Let them know. Let them know what they feel, what they get to your country. Use the testimonials. Use them. When someone is going to your country, ask them, how did you feel? How did you feel? Did you go back safe? And use this as a testimonial so people can because when we are saying ourselves, we are already, you know, we might have a bias that they are not having. So we should use the testimonials and all those travelers going to their country.
Unfortunately, I'm not sitting in the National Tourism Board of Montenegro. So, you know, I'm trying to help to rebuild tourism from my side, but your suggestions are very are great and very welcome. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you, Alexander. So we have time maybe for.
But if I may just add one little thing.
Sure.
You have to be prepared, very well prepared, because when you promote a destination as a safe destination, and then people start coming, this destination is not going to be safe anymore. In other words, the more people that come, the more risk you take. And you have to be very prepared for that. We had the same thing in Jordan, as I said. In Jordan, we had 0 sometimes cases. Now we're having 2,000-3,000 because we opened up too much, too quickly, unprepared. So you have to be very prepared. Otherwise, you will have a reverse reaction to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Taleb. So we have 3 more that raised hands we're going to get on the screen. And then I think we have to wrap it up for today, and we can share some of the comments with everyone. And then also, of course, at the end, we share the video with everyone. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce this name. Grażyna Grodziak from Poland is joining us. And you had an observation. Welcome.
Hello, Jürgen. Thank you so much for inviting me to this meeting. Unfortunately, my camera is off, so not even picture can be shown. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine.
Yeah.
We cannot see you, but that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. So maybe next time, as I'm going to visit my IT specialist to make it. Okay, so I already sent a chat to you on chat to you some my concerns, and maybe it will be also some kind of hint for other regions or countries that we should also think about contributing ourselves to the industry. And as an example, I can give you our group, special task force group, I would say, together. And this group was formatted already in March, when we saw that the problem is coming, and a very big problem is coming to our industry. So we encouraged 18 different associations to meet, to speak, and to address our concerns, fears, and objections to the government, and whom we encourage, AV specialists, event companies, all these technicals that they are working for concerts, big tour operators, buses, and so on. So this group was really very serious, and government could not say no to our resolutions and to our not the resolutions, but to our provisions of resolutions that were addressing to our government. So we needed around 4 months to convince the government that this is the power and the income to our GDPR that we are producing is really very important, and what they will lose if many of us or majority of us will bankrupt it. And as a result of our lobbying, we got 3 stages of the government support, and of course it's not enough, and we cannot survive for years, but since March we are closed. I mean, our businesses are closed or hibernated, let's say, but still we are surviving. So we are not facing now any bankruptcy because we got the governmental support. Now the government is saying that they do not have more money, but still we are existing. That's a very good point. And saying that, I would like to encourage other regions or other countries, the associations from these regions and the countries, to talk to the government and to show them our power and what we all may lose in terms of GDPR for the country. We were successful successful somehow for this moment. We created, we renamed our group from the special task force group to the council to look more serious in front of the government and of the government different agendas and different organizations that they belong to the government. So if I can somehow give the advice that they really, the government and the other organization, they really are hearing us when we are in a group, not just one agency, not just one association, but as a group. We were successful. But what we are suffering now, that we are not having the consistent regulations from EU, that, you know, one day this country is open, one day that country is closed, this and that. Of course, we are the second wave, in a process of the second wave of pandemic, but in let's say better times like it used to be in August or September. I personally had two groups, incentive groups, one to Zakynthos, to Greece, and one to Djerba, to Tunisia. So it was possible to travel. Now it's a different situation, but just to summarize, we should contribute as associations and a group of agencies, not alone, because alone we cannot do anything. That's why we are here today, right, to talk together, correct?
Absolutely, and I think you have a very good point, and we take this to heart, and I encourage you to also summarize it, put it on our group so we can see how we as a group here build a larger group. And I know Maribel has also another event coming up, so we're really running short in time. There is Kazim from Nigeria. Kazim, can you just do this in 1 minute? I know you're on TV all the time, so you know how to do that. If you could really short, because we are way over time, and Maribel actually is supposed to be at another meeting. Kazim is from Nigeria with a TV station. I've been a guest on this station. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Mr. Steinmetz. Well, I know time has gone so far, but let me just say this. What I'm trying to bring to the world is that I want to see what WTTC can do for Africa generally, because as it stands now, we have more at that advantage position when it comes to opening tourism. Before now, it's not been all that good. But what I want to tell the VP of WTTC is that whatever she can do, to support Africa, the more currently, so that we can open the continent more to business, because the COVID-19 did not really affect us much. So that's just my own contribution.
Thank you very much, and thank you everyone. Maribel, I know you got to go, so I give you the last word, and we can wrap up after you leave. So
thank you very much. To your question, I couldn't really hear very well your question, but there are two things to respond to you and to the former speaker. First, we have a lot of data. Please use it. There is a lot of data for 185 countries, 25 regions. Go with this data to your government and explain how important it is for your country, or how important might be for your country if you compare to the other. That is very, very important. And then, yeah, you have to unite yourself. You have to form groups. You have to speak and to the governments to make sure how is the impact that you are producing. When it comes to travel, what we are doing right now is a global, it's an historic moment, and it's global. Why global? Because we want to resume international travel. And when the international travel is back, everybody is going to be affected. Not only Europe, not only USA is going to be affected, as well Africa. So of course we have to think about what to do in this particular continent or region. But now the important thing is that we resume this international travel. Now everybody is locked down. There are not connectivity between Asia and Europe and America, Asia. There is no connectivity. So if we don't bring back this connectivity, it's impossible that we can then tackle other parts of the world. So two things. First thing, use data, talk to your government. Second thing, let's resume altogether the international travel, because otherwise we can be spending hours and speaking here about blue sky, whatever, but nothing will happen if not. Many livelihoods are going to be impacted. We have been expecting 197 million jobs being affected, 5.5 trillion US dollars if we are not acting right now. So, and thank you very much, Jorgen, for your time today, Taleb, Jeffrey, and the rest. Ms. Envy, everybody that's here today. I hope that we can come back and participate, and I'll take I'll share with you all the points, and I hope that you can feed it back and let us know what your opinion is. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Maribel.
I'm
And
happy.
I know there's some people raising hands, so we can maybe go on for 5 more minutes or so. And if you have to leave, Maribel, we fully understand.
Thank you very
we're
much.
way over your time, but and my best wishes to Gloria.
Hasta luego.
Okay.
Hasta luego.
Can I have just one recommendation, please, before she goes, if you don't mind? I've been listening very carefully to all the heated discussion and the eagerness of everybody from the tourism industry to build it back. I've been working on a project to raise or to establish 1,000 startups in travel and tourism and sustainability, which is according to SDG 17 objectives or programs. And I heard very much what you have said. I heard what Dr. Taleb said. I like his initiative, and what also Jürgen said, that the mover and shaker of the industry are the youth. And they are very innovative, very creative. And actually, I contacted WSA World Summit Award in Vienna, Austria. And we are working on a scheme to raise 1,000 startups globally. And I think this is the right time to listen to these innovative young girls or boys and to support them. And we should listen to creative ideas, whether in technology, in product development, in digital marketing, in tour operation, in financing, the fin technology, etc. So if I may ask, I have not looked at the agenda of WTTC with the Ministry of Saudi Arabia, but I can share with you the program that I've been working for almost 2 years. And I believe that would be a very good initiative to be considered by WTTC to help the global tourism industry. Thank you, and I'm sorry to keep you waiting.
No, thank you very much, and please share with us. Happy to have a look to it, of course, and we
yes,
are.
I completely agree.
Thank you.
I completely agree.
I would just remember that 2 years ago in Buenos Aires, we launched it. We wanted, and we spoke first time about the seamless travel journey, the seamless travel, which is about technology, digitalization, and now it's something that was already written in the G20. So we know very well that it's very important to help the youth, the startups, and the technology. Again, thank you very much. I have to go. Bye bye.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Bye, Maribel. Bye, Maribel.
Okay,
stay beautiful.
And thank you everyone else for staying so long. This was probably, I think, our longest session we ever had, but I hope you agree it was worth the time and it was interesting. We will share the entire session again on video with everyone, and we welcome your your contribution after this, so we can have a meaningful discussion. My very last request is you heard Alexandra from Montenegro. She's our first ambassador for the region in the Balkan region. We would like to get more people taking this type of responsibility for your own region and work with us on projects that are relevant to you, to your neighbors, and to your industry. Because as a global initiative, we can all come together and share the experience, but regional, it's something what has to come from within. So anyone interested in taking this task also under our rebuilding.travel network, please contact us. Also go to rebuilding.travel, click on contact, and we can start this discussion and see how we can bring structure into what we're doing. Again, thank you very much for attending today and for your time. And I want to give the last word to Taleb and say aloha here from Hawaii.
Thank you so much, Jürgen. I don't want to add anything more other than just reiterate my call to you. Please look at the document of WTTC. Consider it your agenda. Refine it and send it back to us. We will work with WTTC to make sure that this becomes the global agenda. I think the 12 points, that plus 12 points, one from government, one from private sector, constitute a very, very logical framework for all of this. Thank you so much once again, everybody, and I'm delighted to be part of this wonderful group. Thank you.
Guys, bye-bye. Thank you for listening to another edition from livestream.travel. We will be back with more updates from eTurbo News soon. If you have any questions or you like to be featured in one of our upcoming editions, simply go to livestream.travel and click on Contact. For more information on the Travel News Group, publisher of eTurbo News, Hawaii News Online, Travel Wire News, and many others, go to travelnewsgroup.com. Thanks again for listening. We'll be back soon.